Hi everybody, your monthlies are finally coming out. I really had to kind of resolve in my own head how to do it to balance between everything I want to do for you and my current inability to actually donate as much time. So I decided to go free flow. And free flow, it's not going to have any kind of spread attached to it. I'm simply going to ask possibly different decks to give me messages for you. And we'll go with that. And this is sort of like really high level message that, it's going to tell you where you can go and to what you can amount and what you have to watch for. Like sort of like basic kind of like let's go for it kind of thing. I'm going to give in my bi-weeklies, which are always on the 1st and 15th published. So I'm sticking to that. And for those of you who are looking for X situation on and off, like there are also those series that are coming out every month. Now, before I move further, I actually want to send a shout out to everybody, and hopefully you will be joining in this particular proposal that I have. So I'm in the process of actually building my own card deck. It is collaboration between me and Mira, a wonderful, extraordinary artist. And so we are bouncing off the ideas back and forth. She's adding her basically touch to it, and everything that I have seen so far is like coming out really wonderfully. Now, I would actually like you guys to have your own touch to this basically making. And so I'm not doing this haphazardly. I don't know how much you know about me. I'm also a marketing professional. So I'm trying to select a group of people, 10 to 20, that, can give their 2 cents. And this is not like kind of a call for you giving accolades. This is really, I can understand this message in it. No, I cannot understand message in it, because that way you're going to set us straight to be on the right path. And so I'm trying to actually select these 20 to have men and women, people from all walks of life, people with all kind of tarot experiences, from, hey, I'm just here to watch it, to, yay, I am basically a guru. So if you guys are willing to jump on board, please go to www.cattarot.ca/focus group and just like submit your application. Why do you think you should be the one in that group? And I really, really appreciate everybody doing that. This is non-paid position, and it's purposely non-paid position because I do want you to give me a rough time. And this way, it's going to be a really wonderful creation, because sometimes I may be too much up in the air. I'm an air sign, and maybe I need to be grounded a little bit more because I really like abstract. Other people really like ground. So hence, this collaborative kind of like pointers would really help to set me and Mira sailing in a better direction. And it's going to be a few rounds of this. This is a very, very first preliminary round. And I am really, really thanking in advance to everybody who actually spent time even listening this plea, and especially to those who actually apply or participate in a study. Thank you so much, and I look forward to applications. All the best. So are you ready? Let's start. Let's jump right in. Hi Sagis, my friends. How are you this month? So let's see what is in store for you. Whole bunch of interesting news. So I know you are a fire sign. You're go, 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 go. So the very first thing that I draw for this reading is a rune. So as what you're going to fail in, just kidding. Ansuz is the rune of the divine. And this is asking of you to express yourself through thought and speech. This is kind of like always being called a rune of divine inspiration. And of course, throughout history, this ability has been considered the ability to express yourself, right, in words, considered proof of the divine spark in humanity and trait basically that separate us from animals. And therefore, This is also symbolized sudden flashes of insight. So sometimes this signifies sudden development of possibly an entirely new set of circumstances. And it is maybe likely that this new situation can also change very swiftly. And you may be at loss on how to deal with the resulting issues that kind of arise from that. So, however, although you might kind of feel confused, your unconscious mind will know exactly what to do. You know, this is pretty much the guidance from Odin, because Odin was a ruler in this Norse kind of like mythology, which kind of like is the birth mother of runes. So this also can express itself more directly. Maybe you receive valuable advice from an older, wiser individual. However, after I assess the rest of your basically cards that came out, I really think that you will be having a lot of meaningful dreams, and sets of strange coincidences will be actually coming out in some kind of form of synchronicity, okay? You are going to be really gifted in how you express yourself versus, you know, how sometimes you can be really overly candid, overly blunt. Just like us Aquarians, but this is going to refine you to the next level. You're going to really kind of have a divine touch. Now, interestingly enough, you got these two kind of cards, cave and desert. They're actually pretty close, and I'm trying not to wave these cards because I got words from you guys that sometimes my camera tries to zoom in and it kind of like fogs it, and you wanted me to have a steady hand. So I am trying to do as little motions as possible. So in this particular card, we see a man who is kind of withdrawn from the world. We can see the sun is setting, right? While he's like doing his own work, like painting the walls of the cave with colors that, in his case, are drawn from earth substances, the way they used to do that, right? It's being that connectivity, having that connectivity, right? That divine that has been suggested here. So this is telling me that you have to find a quiet, still place inside of you that is possibly available to you to be a sanctuary, because this is what it's calling for. Find your own cave. Men already know that, right? So they go in their cave. Women in particular have a hard time finding such place. If you cannot find it in your home, find it somewhere in the nature. This is asking of you to disconnect from, yes, catch tarot for a second, and other kind of like computer, television, and human-made devices. Why? Because the thoughts are coming through, these messages from divine can only happen there. Can only happen in between the words. It's kind of funny, you're asked to say the words, but you can only get to that space if you kind of focus on those space in between the words, because that's how the spirit travels, in between the words. The words, pardon me, the worlds, maybe that as well. So in today's busy world, kind of like it's very critical to set this time aside for yourself. So whether this is like, I mean, taking a bath once a week and you lock the door and nobody's to touch me, do not disturb sign is in the big letters on the door, where you just don't have any care in the world and you honor yourself in doing that. Because vision quest is something very similar, right? Because desert is usually very kind of harsh environment, right? So in the history, when we kind of hear about stories of people wandering the desert, generally they are talking about religious figures or ascended masters, right? Who basically journeyed there, and they maybe came back from these mountains with kind of remarkable visions and messages. That's pretty much what I was telling you about finding that place that things and messages can come to you. Why? Because you're really in tune with the nature. You're really not exposed to all these messages bombarding you all the time. So instead of you going inside, you have to keep like returning those balls back. So what is a vision quest? It is a process when you spend a few days in the wilderness alone. No, 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 I don't advise that. This is just what the card says. We are not equipped to actually do that. You throw us out in the nature, we'll be eaten by the wolves or bears or even frogs and mosquitoes. So anyway, the theory is you just only carry water and maybe some really, really special items with you, aka, you know, something that is sacred, something that you think is going to help. And you spend all this time praying and meditating. So many people who basically did that, and a modern version of that is going to basically yoga or meditation retreat, where you spend time actually going deep inside. And then many actually people say this was a life-changing experience, and they report vivid and profound revelations. You know, there is a saying that the desert does not lie. So it is kind of going to be interesting if you guys take me upon this vision quest and you discover the truth about your own purpose, or at the very least you're going to get some clues. So this is one of the more powerful cards in this deck, and by drawing it, whatever other messages basically receive are amplified threefold. So you guys are obviously required to pull yourself in, and the other cards which I'm going to unfold for you suggest the same thing. So going in this law of attraction deck over here, the very first card we have here is basically, I think that will be Knave of Pentacles, if I'm not wrong. So again, it's talking about you know, a student and instruction, meditation, intellectual work. The wheels are turning. So these wheels are something, the message that you should receive. It is possibly somebody with dark eyes and dark hair. And if you want your dream to come true, you should act really, really cautiously. Now, interestingly, these are pentacles, and here will be that Queen of Wands, who is basically you guys. She is the confidant in this deck. This deck is being explained differently, so just bear with me, because just forget tarot. They are kind of numbering it as tarot, but like, I mean, the same cards mean different things. Because if you look at Knave of Pentacles, generally talks about studious nature as well, but it talks more about kind of earthy, kind of like feelings. In this case, it's really talking about this mastery and kind of like really digging deep. Queen of Wands here is basically a friendly person who is reliable and who is sincere. And she is really good with her basically common sense. So these two cards are now telling me that you should really exploit your sense of logic. And for that to come to you, you have to tap into intuition, because logic without intuition doesn't give results. Because ultimately, where you are going, you're going to this judgment, which is renewal in this deck. And if you want to make a drastic change in your life, which basically your rune suggests that you might not want to make it, but it's just going to come to you, this is asking you to take the courage and kind of dust off all dreams that maybe you have abandoned and keep kind of embarking to this new stage. So, Osho Zendek. This is kind of like really interesting, because here we are getting some kind of warnings over here. So, you're starting with this exhaustion. So, this poor fellow over here is defending the fort here, right? It's looking as if, you know, there is no tomorrow. But look at this face. Does he look to you as somebody who is having a good time? You know, to me this looks like something that we build. Not just you, Sagittarius. We all humans build. You maybe want to be very solitary at this stage. Maybe you build this huge fort around you because you just don't want to be bothered. Or maybe you just found a system that kind of works for you, but, you know, Are you maybe getting all worn out of keeping it all together and making sure that everything runs smoothly? Isn't this a little bit, well, too complicated? Too complex? Isn't this maybe talking about chaos? Keep in mind that obviously this is quite the opposite of sanctuary. This is quite the opposite of desert. So this is literally asking of you to kind of abandon this complexity, to go really kind of to the basics. And I know you have been fighting for something. This could be also fighting for your dreams. The truth is that this card is telling me that there are maybe so many layers that have been built that now that even initial purpose makes no sense. On the other hand, some of you may have kind of protected yourself from pain, from the outside with this enormous machinery. So is this making you really happy, Sagis? Because check this out, again, even in this deck, you're getting this message of turning in. Even in this deck, we see basically this woman with a beautiful kind of like Mona Lisa smile. I don't know if this is going to show at some point. There we go. And look at these kind of creatures around her. She is just smiling and watching her own basically antics of the mind. She's not judging. See, this is asking for some kind of self-review. What the heck am I doing? Am I doing the right thing? How am I affecting the other people, right? And let yourself be abused. Pardon me, Freudian slip, amused. And just see what comes to you. Hear all these voices that people are telling you about you. And let that sit in, right? I'm not asking you to self-abuse yourself, quite the contrary. I'm just asking you to acknowledge that maybe there are issues in how you come across. And I think this is why this kind of whole communication is coming to the fore. Because this is asking to develop basically the knack of taking a distance from the mind, you know, and go basically down to meditation. This is what basically meditation is all about. It's not about chanting a mantra or repeating an affirmation, but just like watching your mind. Just if that mind is like moving in front of you on a basically movie screen, as if it's somebody else's, and taking that distance. And you're watching that entire show without being caught up in the drama. So kind of like indulge yourself in the simple freedom of turning in whenever you can, and kind of like enjoy this meditation because it's going to help you grow and help you go deeper. This is exactly what we do when we are on this vision quest. And looks like this is going to get you to the new level because this is what Judgment says. This is number 20 and Innocence is number 19. So you are in the very last phases of growth. And we do know, Sagis, that at some point I was like even yelling at you, kind of like slapping you around, wake up, wake up. I'm really happy to report that some of you really did, and some of you took a note and said, oh my gosh, yes, I just get it. And you know, that's the first step. It's not just you, all signs, all of us have those moments when we really, really have to look deep inside of ourselves because we just sometimes get lost. We turn too much left. You guys are finally coming back. I love this card because innocence, and I'm doing these cards now, right? So like I'm comparing the other decks, and I love this card because in the other cards, the innocence is always portrayed with a child. Children are not innocent. When was the last time you saw an innocent child? Children always have agenda, and agenda is to survive and to get the most they can. It's me kind of attitude. This is why children are so loud when they're like super young, when they're like, just newborns or toddlers. Because they cannot move. Their survival depends on that voice. So having an older guy who is able to be this gentle, who is able not to be poisoned with life, who is able to kind of lift off to a different level without judgment, just by observing, and have this praying mantis looking him eye to eye, kind of like understanding that everything kind of comes together in one circle, is amazing. This is actually childlike quality. This is not childish. This is like childlike. And having this ability to kind of like be playful, to look up, to look kind of like on a better side, is something that most of us spend a lifetime to get. So you guys are just about to enter that phase, and this is something really wonderful to look forward to. And lastly, let's check your tarot read for the month. Now we have 2 of Pentacles, we have 5 of Swords reversed, 10 of Wands reversed, 6 of Cups reversed, King of Pentacles, and Knight of Pentacles. Now, certain things have been maybe upsetting you. There were kind of 2 sides of an issue, or maybe there were 2 different people you were interested in. It could be a 3-party situation, because you see here that something just didn't go forward. There was like too many cooks that spoiled the broth, and maybe you just got exhausted and just like pulled out of this. It just tells me that maybe you just got tired with life, because look at this card. This kitty is juggling the fish and the rat. But what is the most important on this card is this and this. Do you see these 2 different ships? Well, the ships are talking about ownerships, friendships, relationships. How are yours? It's basically calling you to kind of integrate it in your life, that you cannot neglect it, that it cannot be just black or white like this checkerboard, and that yes, while the life goes up and down, so are the relationships. But if you drop the ball, you might lose more than you're basically aware of. Maybe because you're obviously asked that your words improve this month, that you kind of like have this divine touch, that you chase your dream. But you're also being called to do it inside. You will find that there's going to be a lot of no's to the greenstone, no's to being studious, no's to do some kind of research. You will also review your own relationships and see where things maybe went too far, maybe where things didn't go far enough. You're going to realize that certain things in your life makes no sense, that certain things will never get you to this path where you wanted to get. And you're going to get smarter. That's that logical thinking that we have seen. You're kind of going to limit all these things down to maybe from 10 to 6. And you're going to find it more comfortable to carry through and to kind of like get to it. You are still thinking about someone. 6 of Cups is generally talking about reminiscing. It's talking about past. It's talking about times when you were happy. This can be also talking about revisiting that dream that you had a long time ago. This can be a person who you still, think about. That, maybe somebody that you knew all the way back to being in high school and university, or even somebody who you met these days who kind of reminds you of that kind of butterflies in the stomach when you first started to date. You are going to be examining a whole bunch of different things this month. You're going to have passion, return to you. Going to have reliability returned back to you. You're going to come up with some maybe new solutions in how to move forward. Because ultimately the month is ending with the King of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles. Either this is you guys becoming extremely reliable and enjoying maybe professions that have to do with earth, have to do with, I don't know, jewelry, wine, food, anything like mining, anything that we kind of like get benefit from the planet, real estate, just you name it. You may be dealing with Taurus. You might be dealing with Capricorn, with somebody who is like really into, you know, these kind of things. This could be also dealing with banks and bankers. Money is going to be really important. Reassessing the finances, because this card also tells me that. Kind of trying to maybe find a different ways of stretching your dollar further. This could mean that maybe you are becoming this person who is becoming highly organized, who is becoming a good business person, because this person is a business owner. And then maybe you're setting up long-term goals. As you can see, this kitty is not exactly flying on an airplane, right? This kitty is sort of like having a mode of transportation that is like, well, not very fast. But kitty is patient. And kitty knows that eventually we are going to get where we want to get. So as well, I can enjoy the ride. So Sagittarius, I think it's going to be maybe turning in month, turning into your own feelings, to your own dreams, taking a breather and going back, trying to find what you really want. It's going to be of some kind of benefit. So let's check your Lenormand, so we can reassess kind of like circumstances a little bit more. So, Sagittarius, October, Sagittarius, October, Sagittarius, October, Sagittarius, October, Sagittarius, October, Sagittarius, October 2017. Huh. The bear, the sun, ooh, and the snake. Okay. Huh. The ring, the key, and the crossroads. Okay. I think, which way is it? Probably this way. That probably would be more accurate. Pardon me, but since for some reason I was compelled to take this bear, I'm going to take this one out as well. So the snake is some kind of temptation. The ship. Are you guys planning to go on a trip? Or are you dating somebody from afar? Ship also talks about ideas, where these ideas can take us, and kind of like setting the sun on those ideas. And these could be some kind of like a financial solutions. Now, some of you may have a secret affair or secret admirer. For some of you, you maybe dated somebody in the past with whom you lost touch, whom you still sort of like think about as seductive. Somebody is still kind of shining this light over here, that somebody might not be even around with you anymore. So let's see in more details about that. These guys are always look upright, for those of you who like this upright thing, because these are really relatively straightforward. Yeah. Did you guys end the relationship, maybe? Some of you might end the relationship. Something that has been very, very karmic. And you're ready to move into something else, to something really unknown. Here, I can show you this. Some of you maybe even moved, or maybe the home, maybe you moved, maybe you lived with somebody and you moved out. The interesting part is like, that some of you actually do think quite a bit, as we've seen in the preliminary kind of looking, that there is somebody from the past, which I see out here. Again, something might be brewing around winter time. This is the wisdom, that's the vision quest. This is your dedication to the finances. So you are doing multiple simultaneous, sort of like lateral kind of like motions. You're planning some kind of trip for sure. And your health may have suffered recently, and you're trying to get kind of back to it. Kind of get back on your feet. It's kind of like you're in between these two ships. You know what they say, ships in the dark? And it just looks like one door closed and another one is opening. And this partner from the past still wants you. I still see that this partner also will be re-emerging and try to kind of like have another chance. Either or, right? Because I can see two here. Or you might be trying that. And you may have been the one who have been left behind. You might be that one who maybe wants to go forward with this relationship. You see, there was a karmic relationship. So I think this vision quest is asking of you to really go deep inside of yourself and kind of like figure out what is it you really want. What is it you really need? And how to marry this want and need. Karmic relationships, and just I suggest to all of you, because we all talk about the soulmates, karmic soulmates, twin flames, whatnot. There are like so many different terms, but nobody's talking about that. All of that is like really not important as much as the soul contract. Soul contract is simply what kind of trip you decide to go on. And that is going to tell you what kind of soulmates you're going to attract and why. And karmic soulmates are always the gender that you get attracted to. Soulmates, you have millions of soulmates. It could be your cat, your dogs, your parents, your children. There are different kind of like nudges that we are getting around the time that we need some kind of nudge or help. Karmic soulmates are the ones that we write into our soul contract. They are the ones who push us to actually do action, to get back on our path. So you guys are right on this crossroads. It looks like there are two different karmic soulmates. That you are coming into this wisdom, that owls, the lovebirds. But it's more than lovebirds. Owls are like really having that huge wisdom that just kind of goes inside. And it is about something that you did in the past. And again, we have some kind of like secrets or something. And it was like some kind of sexual relationship with somebody. And it looks like that person, I honestly see three people. I see somebody who made such a huge impact with you that you probably broke a relationship that has been extremely long and extremely important. But it just like wiped it out, at least one of the parties. And put an end to it, and possibly put an end with both of those relationships. It looks like one of these people really fought hard and long for you, and you didn't give it a chance. The other person that you wanted got rid of you. It was kind of weird situation that had promise of every possible luck. You have the clover and you have the bouquet, but ultimately you're moving on your own. Both of these people might be coming back to your life. In any case, you might have children with one of these people. You are still very confused. You have the crossroads, you have the clouds, you have the moon. You still cannot find your sea legs, you still cannot find the lay of the land. You'll be getting some communication, or you will communicate yourself with both of them very soon. Somebody, or even both of them, will express love to you, or you'll express love to them. The child indicates a new beginning, but it's a new beginning after something that has been going on for quite a while. So it's new beginning with somebody from the past. And you're dating and you're putting an anchor down and finally getting this clarity. So you'll be getting this clarity over the next couple of months because both moon and clouds are not helping this huge clarity. So let me just clarify a little bit these clouds for you. Clouds for Saggy. Something that is nagging. You kind of like currently have a very short fuse, guys. And maybe it's something that you don't even want to think about it. It's kind of like, okay, I am just putting one foot in front of another. I'm just going forward. Leave me all alone. But it's not going to be that easy. Remember, like I mean, this says that there are going to be circumstances that will be presented to you, and one of that will be, who are you? Where do you want to land? What do you want to do? Because there is this opportunity for dating with somebody from the past. Most likely from the past. Or somebody you have been maybe for quite a while already known. It's not going to be a completely new person. So let me see this moon. What is this moon all about? Moon. Okay. The sequel. Moon is talking about reputation. Something happened that you completely behaved, either you or the other person behaved completely out of their character. They have been judged, or you have been judged based on how that behavior manifested. This is saying that, you know, you're going to get to the core and to the bottom of that. That's maybe the vision quest, kind of like understanding some matter that happened to you, something that died, that you were really, really hoping. It looks like that to somebody long distance that you had a big hopes for, huge. And that came to a halt, and you are like flabbergasted. So the moon says that not everything is as it appears, that the answers are not what you think that is self-evident. It's one of those rare situations that don't believe your lying eyes, right? So this is saying that certain things you will cut certain things off. Let me just see that. Well, it can also be a legal ending for some of you, because it could be even the marriage, because I'm having like now 3 of that coming out here. Yeah, somebody's going in a completely different direction. Okay, so some of you, this can mean that that's what it is. It was uncertainty about where do you go. So it was a legal ending with somebody, and kind of like simultaneous, kind of like maybe new beginning with another person. Let me see. Maybe one person kind of like pushed you against the wall and said they, you know, don't want to be a part of 3-party, and you're waiting for them to, yeah, you're waiting for the sun, see moon, you know, and you're waiting for the sun to start something fresh with them. So having said that, you are really right now, this month, dealing with internal issues. You're dealing with getting and finding out what you really want. This is, yeah, look at that. You're getting and having this mountain with these owls, asking you to be alone, to understand what kind of problems you have, and kind of come up with solutions. Only you can come up with how, you know, the problems will be solved. And this is going to be the basically flavor of the month. And lastly, Sagis, I pulled out a card for you from my enchanted map, and the card is education. Interesting enough that we have seen it across the entire reading. So it says, life is filled with lessons. Be teachable. Wisdom comes from participating in life, not just reading about it. This card suggests that you might not have enough knowledge about what you seek, the direction to take, your circumstances, or the nature of your inquiry. Important information is coming. Now is the time to go to school, ask a person who might know more than you do, or find a teacher, guru, or a course of study so that you can more clearly understand what the next right action must be. Sometimes life unexpectedly sends you to an unfamiliar school and you must learn by experience. Now is one of those times to be teachable, open to changing your preconceived notions. Be a student and be willing to say the most powerful mantra of all: I don't know yet. Judges would love to hear what you have to say. Also, keep in mind that you can contact me for a private reading. This is general, so it doesn't have to resonate. Check your other aspects, your rising sign and your moon sign for emotions. This is also effective. And lastly, guys, if you're new here, please give me a thumbs up if you actually managed to sit through right to this point. And your comments are extremely valuable. You know that I read them all, and that way I'm sort of like making even more sense of all these possible scenarios. And thank you so much. And yeah, guys, let's not forget that focus group. If you're interested, please spend a few minutes just to kind of fill this form, and then we can start rolling on that end as well. Thank you so much, Sages. Love you. Have a wonderful October.